Okay. Yeah, that's what
What's
they call it.
happening? Welcome to the Caribbean Currency Podcast, where Caribbean culture meets Caribbean finance. My name is Kyle,
My name is Redman, of course.
and pretty much why we started this podcast, we feel it was real necessary because we're from the Caribbean, Virgin Islands to be exact.
U.S. Virgin Islands, to be
U.S.
exact.
Virgin Islands,
Yes,
right?
yes,
You have to
Big
be
up the
like that.
BVI too.
Yeah,
though.
BVI. We's
Yeah.
family. But hey,
Of
listen,
course, we from the BVI. Actually,
Exactly.
matter of fact, we's immigrants, really, to be honest with you.
if you look at it that way,
You're
for
right.
real.
To the U.S. Virgin Islands,
Yeah,
but to the
for real.
Virgin Islands, we's natives.
That's true.
Facts.
Got my
Right.
grandfather from the BVI.
Facts.
Just catch the boat over,
That's it.
and that's how I became a U.S. citizen.
Right.
Shout out to my grandpa.
Shout out to both of my grandparents.
But yeah, so the reason we started this podcast is because in the Caribbean culture, we don't really see too much people talking about money. When we talk about money, we talk about it in a different way that we should. We talk about it in a way where it's like, we flaunting it and we got it, but we ain't really showing and talking about how to make it legally, how to keep it, how to create generational wealth to pass that on to our kids.
Even
their
how to
kids.
make that money work for you.
Exactly.
And make other people money work for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's
So-
so much money out there that we don't even see it. We just see like that surface level of money what you get from like a paycheck or some savings your mother saved for you. But there's so many other avenues to make money and generate money that we don't even really have that conversation.
Definitely.
Especially in the Virgin Islands, like
Definitely.
on a day-to-day basis.
Definitely.
Right,
Because we were conditioned to get a job, finish high school,
right,
go to college if you're going to go to college,
Right.
come out of college, get a job,
right.
work for the government for 30 years,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
get your own apartment.
And then GRS failing too.
God, let's not-
Imagine you work for like 30 years and then you get a newspaper GRS running out of
They
money.
don't have no money.
Like what?
Your life, you just waiting.
But that's the only way you know. You know what I mean? And like you trust your parents because you love your parents and
Yeah.
you seeing them working and you seeing them putting money into the system. Everything hunky dory.
And they're doing what they know.
They're doing what they know.
You know?
Right.
So,
yeah.
and it ain't nobody's fault really because my grandmother
Right.
was ironing clothes for 10 cents a shirt and them type of thing. So,
Right.
So when she sent her kids to school, my mom go school and learn and do all of that stuff, and she come out and she get a government job. In my grandma's eyes, my mom is winning.
Right.
You know?
And so much of us got a like same story because my mother was cleaning toilets by Tatola Waf.
See?
You know what I mean? I mean, she went to the middle school with her last education, 10 goals. So the mission was to elevate from that was the next part of success. That they didn't even have the capacity to have the conversation about even like when I talk to my mother about investing money in the stocks, that's foreign to her.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not because like she don't want to do it, but her mother was just teaching her how to finish school and get a job
Exactly.
because she didn't finish school and she was cleaning toilets.
Exactly.
So when my mother come to me now, she ain't telling me about investment. Her horizon wasn't abroad.
Exactly.
She could only tell me
what
go
she
to
know.
college and get a job
that's
and
what
then
she
build
know.
from there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's what
So
she knows. So we really had to really try to break that cycle.
facts
Because really and truly, if we continue that, we're not creating generational wealth.
at all.
We're not passing anything on to our kids when we leave.
Right.
Because when we get a job for the government, we work there, we making whatever we making is decent enough to feed ourselves. But we hovering right around the middle class
Enough to sustain.
and poverty line.
Right.
That's where we at.
Right.
But it's really, really a handful of us that's really above that middle class that's in a better place where they could afford to buy a house.
Right, the middle class and the poverty line so close.
So close,
Like,
bro.
we were growing up in the projects, you have middle class people in the projects,
In the
and
projects.
along with people who below the poverty
Yes,
line. Like,
yes, in the same
like
projects.
right
Yep.
here. Like, you one firing away from being
exactly.
poor in
Yeah.
the middle
Or
class.
one day off, or one sick day.
One sick day from being
Exactly.
like inadequate. Yeah.
True. So pretty much we have to spread that word about like, yes, you guys did what you taught and you guys are doing good, but there's so much more.
Yeah.
Because when we compare our community to other communities and
Right.
they're so much further ahead, and it's like, how these guys doing all of this stuff and we still here? And the black community, especially in the Caribbean, we spend more than we save. So we get the money and we give it right back. So
Right.
we have to really start them conversations about investing, saving. And when we say investing, We ain't talking about the partner hand that, Susie Q start, and if you give me $5, I give you back 10.
Or the water flowers with the pedals that you gotta put money into. Boy, I thought I will get rich off of that.
Hey, listen, if you're
You gonna tell you who tell me about them water flowers,
Yo, that was a different time.
What?
Whoa,
hey, but you
time.
live and you learn though. But that's us investigating ways to try to generate more money.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like,
Facts.
it's cool to have conversations about everything. I think everybody should have conversations. We should have fun. We should joke. We should be controversial. But at the same time, too, I feel like we'd have poured too much energy into one cup and not balance out the conversations that we having every day. Like,
exactly.
About the money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's not sexy. That ain't fun. You know what I mean? Like, for people, that's fatigue.
So we go on the tough and awkward, and we talk about what we talk about. Who album had.
Right.
We talk about who scored 40 last night in the NBA, who threw 4 touchdowns.
Right.
We talk who girl looking good or whatever. But we talk about everything. But we don't have them finance conversations. We don't talk about, hey man, they get a piece of land selling up there for 30,000 and the owner sick and he just want to sell it real quick before he go or blah, 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 blah. That's a good investment. One, we should buy it. Or all of us pad up and we buy it and then we, build something on it to create income. So therefore, we could leave something for our kids.
And another thing too, I think a lot of us that fear rejection. So we might sit down and say, look, yo, let's pad up for this 30,000. But somebody inside of that group going to be like, well, they ain't going to do it for us. They ain't going to give it to us. But how we going to know if we don't even like explore the opportunity to be rejected, see why we get rejected, come back another way, find a different avenue. I think a lot of times it's fair. Like, and I'll give you a quick small example. Like, when you go to the club, you could see it, right? In the club, it have people who broke and it have people who have a lot of money. But I feel like sometimes when you even have a little bit more money, you still kind of staying around the people them who you could kind of like be bigger than. Because if you go into that next room, even though you have a lot, you smile now again and you don't even want to be small. You know what I mean? So that's the fear. Like, who I going to be when I go into this room? I going to be a nobody again? You know what I mean? So I think it's so much different factors within the community. But I think the stepping point is starting a conversation and just talking about it on a daily basis and making it cool to talk about money, even when you don't get no money, even when it's rough.
You have to aspire to get that. So we wasn't born with it. But if we didn't make that decision, like, yo, we have to try to get this money. How do we get this money? In a legal way. Because what we know is what we see. So growing up, what we see the drug dealer them, the gunman them with the big chains and the bad rides in the projects. They had lived right next to us.
And then for you is how you like, okay, then we going, especially in the Virgin Islands, you're gonna go to school with affluent people in it. It's not like you have like some neighborhood 30 miles away where affluent people go in school and then us poor people, like when you poor, you don't have that much, generational wealth. You go in school with affluent people, and especially in the black community, when you see people have something and it says he get them new Jordans, that mean that he affluent. That's what I mean to me. You know what I mean? I don't have, I guess, Pueblo shoes. You know what I mean? So now my goal is to try to get that so I could project wealth. You know what I'm saying? So if I in the projects and I need to get them Jordans and red man can't buy it or Letitia can't buy it, then about my partner them and my uncle them get weed selling and it's easy access for me to make a couple dollars. My partner them wrong me smoking. I gonna get some weed and try hustle some money and get these Jordans so I could project that wealth. You know
that's
what I mean?
The thing, right? We strive to look wealthy more than we strive to be wealthy.
To be wealthy.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So what we do is we want to buy all this stuff that we really can't afford.
Facts.
So we could seem affluent. So we could seem to have it. So therefore we could impress the females. And it's not one-sided.
Right.
The people that are impressed by this stuff, they're part of the problem quote unquote, too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is what impresses you. This is what you like to see. Okay. So that's what I have to do. I gotta wear these $200 shoes, even though I barely get food in the house. Well, shit, we're gonna figure out a way how to do this, and then we go ahead and we make certain decisions that we probably shouldn't make to get to that place.
Drake said something at time. I was watching him on an interview, and Drake said that he was keeping up with the Joneses because he had to. Drake said that he bought expensive stuff so it could force him to work harder. To continue to maintain. So it's like so many perspective on it. But I want people to know that not everybody is Drake.
Drake. I was about to say that.
Okay.
Drake,
Not everybody.
Drake do that when he was a millionaire already.
Matter of fact, he did when he wasn't.
Oh, he did?
But he
Okay.
had believed in his talent so much. And he avenues that he had where he was going. And not all of us are like that. Some of us might start that process like Drake and get fatigued, and then we definitely in a hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Drake knew to himself he wasn't gonna get fatigued by any means necessary. I'm not saying like you can't be Drake or you can't have that same energy of Drake, but you still have to have some checks and balances and kind of like put your life into perspective with how like you ain't really suffering as much as you want to suffer. Sometimes we'd be thinking we suffering. Yeah. Like a millionaire suffering too, you know. Even though he have millions of dollars,
different struggles. Yeah,
his bills is high too. He have a million in assets, but he probably don't have the kind of money flowing the way. You might have more cash flow than him. You know what I mean? So, but we tend to look at people who have more than us and think that the struggle change in a sense, but it's really internal. Philosophical and how you look at things is going to determine how you're going to change the way you approach money, see money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it starts from what it is we see and what we were conditioned. Like, this is what we grew up seeing as a kid when we were at our most influenced. Right. What we seen is the man them, the guys that look affluent, that got all the jewelry, all the clothes, and all the girls and all the cars. How did they get that? Right. They didn't get it from investing. Right. They ain't get it from credit. They ain't get it from starting a business. Right. How I want that. Right. How he got that? Show me how you get that so I could get it too. Right. And then that's what's gonna happen. Well, I got this by selling weed. I got this by selling coke. I got this by robbing people, whatever it is. And then guess what I'm gonna do? That's going to condition the next generation to do that same thing. Yeah. So at some point in time, we gotta break that cycle and have these kind of conversations and be like, listen, you got social security number. That means you could get something called credit. Right. You know what I mean? All you gotta do is fix your credit if it's mashed up already. Get your credit fixed. Right. Go ahead. Or if you ain't get no credit, start to build your credit. Get yourself a secure credit card. That's how you missed that shameless plug in it. I was like, that was the perfect moment to be like, yo, man, absolutely. I was holding it for later. What if you guys didn't know? Yeah. I have a credit repair company and a financial literacy company where I teach credit repair. Well, I repair your credit and I teach financial literacy. So if you have any negative items on your credit report, inquiries, charge-offs, collections, late payments, whatever the case may be, life happens. Ain't nothing to be ashamed of. Hit your boy up and they're going to get you straight. And they're going to teach you how not to get back to that place of bad credit again. CredibleSource.com. Holla at your boy. Facts. And then, you know, too, it'll lead, like, so not having a conversation about money and not knowing how we handle land and wealth and these stuff that, because we know, especially in the Virgin Islands, we inherit most of these things through forced labor and, you know, we know it's ours, right? Like the colonizers gone and now it's ours, right? But at the same time, too, we don't have the knowledge of how to maintain it. So people will come from America, because we're American territory, they'll come from America and they'll see the opportunities and then we'll get upset that they saw the opportunity and then we'll be like, oh, they're gentrifying the place. But really and truly, it's a globe. And anywhere in the globe, anybody with knowledge could find opportunity, they're going to go. And that's how they did. So we can't look at them and be mad and be like, oh, well, they coming down here and they buying up all this stuff. No, you selling it to them. Exactly. You quarreling with your family over some land you can't get together emotionally. So now this thing here going to go into a section in the government where they could come get for Dutch. And then we're going to complain and say gentrification. So gentrification in the Virgin Islands has a totally different look than the mainland. In the mainland, you could see how people would be upset about certain things because you really gentrifying public places and like you know, projects and stuff like that. You ripping them down and you try and make the neighborhood look different. But in the Virgin Islands, it's property. It's not public building. They ain't knocking down none of the projects and running us out. They never once said we're gonna knock this project down and we're going to put some houses here for some white folks, for you who can't afford it. What's happening is that the property that are around the projects and anywhere else on the island that we maintaining because of lack of financial literacy are going up foreclosure or, you know, these tax you know what I mean? You ain't paying your taxes, you ain't paying your land taxes, you know what I'm saying? And these people seeing opportunity in a place that we supposed to be seeing opportunity in. And we basically failing ourselves. So this is what happened. Grandpa worked for 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, building house, other people's house, doing all this stuff, working hard every day to build this house that he built for his wife and his kids. Them kids get old, One kid leave the island to be a dentist, the next one leave the island to be a journalist, the next one leave the island to be a lawyer. Grandpa and grandma home alone, right? They all them up. The kids had kids and everybody up, they living their separate lives.
Right.
Grandpa and grandma start to get old. Grandpa and grandma, after a while, they're healthy and they no more, and they pass away. The lawyer, the attorney, and whoever the other one was, the dentist, I think I said.
Yeah.
They don't want to come back to St. Thomas. I have my life in the States.
Right.
I don't want to come back to St. Thomas. What are you going to do?
In the States where you don't have no
Nothing.
property.
Exactly.
That you have to come work and
Exactly.
guess, which I ain't against.
Exactly.
But
You know?
don't forget what you have
Exactly.
already.
Exactly.
And the place so far you try and buy property next to the people you live into, they have property here and
Exactly.
they try and get property where you coming
Where
from.
you left from. So now the dentist said, listen, me messing with that, sell it.
Yeah.
The lawyer said, well, maybe we could, nah. And then now the other one say, I ain't messing with it neither, sell it.
Right.
Well, I know a white lady that want to buy it for 50,000. No, the value of this land is 250,000.
Right.
But because you don't want to be bothered, you go ahead and sell this thing for
Or
50
can't
grand.
get along.
Or can't get along, or
Right.
ain't sitting down and really having these conversations, right?
Over something petty. That's probably
Majority of
why
the
they
time.
don't even get along,
Majority of the
some
time.
portion or thing that they have. And I ain't diminishing
And I don't want
anybody's
tight.
feelings.
I don't want to be tight or nothing with them people.
But that's another thing. In our community, we don't see things bigger than ourselves or past our life.
Facts.
We don't see our children. We can't see our great-grandchildren. Our grandparents saw us. In our new generation, we don't see our great-grandchildren.
Facts.
That's why they did what they did.
Exactly.
Right? So we just see our life right now, going to the club, let's travel, let's have fun, let's do this. You could do all together.
Yeah.
But it's when you start to do this thing and forget about these kids that later on down the line, I don't mind you making sacrifices now so your kids don't suffer later. You know what I mean? But making sure your kids good now and you good now and you got a house now or you get the things you want and they get the Jordans now and then they're going to suffer later is ass backwards to me.
So then now what end up happening is we sell this piece of property for way less than is what it's worth. Then white folks come in, or it ain't even gotta be white folks, just outsiders, foreigners come in and they buy these property.
Because they get Arabs there too.
Yeah.
They get Chinese there too.
And they did. And they
we
heavy.
like to say it's white folks.
No, it ain't just the white
Well,
folks.
it's not even white folks because I know a couple who went. I know some black Americans who have property down there too
for that same reason.
It's just a mentality,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
It don't matter. 'Cause
Exactly.
look, it get poor white people in St. Thomas
Yeah,
too.
true. I
You
see
know,
a
it
homeless
get
white man the other day.
Frenchies doing the same thing.
Exactly. Facts,
Okay,
facts.
so it ain't really a color thing. It gonna look like that to us
Us,
because
That's the first thing we see. Exactly.
is a predominantly black island, and that's what we seen.
Exactly.
But guys, you have to remember that when we work hard for what we have, it's imperative that we teach our kids how to do the same thing.
Right.
We need to teach them what we have,
Facts.
include them in this is what we work hard for you to have. This is
Right.
what we own that will eventually become yours.
Exactly.
We want you to pass it on to the next generation and
Exactly.
teach them about investing in the real estate that we have, that we know our ancestors literally worked the land, work hard, for, so that we could have. Because like you said, Dwayne, you made a good point. Our ancestors, they had us in their vision.
Right.
Do we have our kids in our vision,
Yeah.
or is it just for us this moment?
In this moment.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
And so to that
Well,
point,
real quick, the voice you just heard
right?
is none other than Sony,
Okay.
Caribbean currency alumni,
Right.
and our assistant, and she handles everything. She responsible for majority of the setup. Now with our dope production team, you're probably gonna see her, but you're gonna hear her voice from time to time. So don't freak out.
She give me that
red
mean
man
look.
talking in he the voice that he do from time to time.
She give
When
me that
nobody
mean look
looking.
cause I didn't wear my Caribbean currency shirt. You know what I mean? But I'm an individual, right? And speaking to that, like what Sony was talking about too sometimes, man, how we raised, like for me, right? How I was raised, my mother raised, she did what she could have done. Everybody, parents did what they could have do with the knowledge that they had. So I'm not knocking my mother at all. Amazing job, love her to death, right? But not all of us like how we to be raised sometimes. So we don't rebel and want to go off in our own direction and miss the message from our parents. Because I missed many messages from my mother when I was supposed to be like up under her wing, learning everything. I was more like, nah, I can't wait to get help from her wrong here because you just a little too rough for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We ain't clicking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in reality, I was supposed to stay up on. I click up on my father. He's still in housing. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So not knock to him either. You know what I mean? Everybody part different, but sometimes the parents do be trying, and we be rejecting stuff, and sometimes it because we just at the end of the day, man, we gotta look in the mirror and understand that. From time to time, if not most of the time, we'd be selfish.
Yeah.
With our own life, thinking that life belongs to us alone, and then bringing other life into the world, knowing that the life you have really belongs to everybody else around you and how you push it forward.
My thing is more so like the respect the vision your grandpa had. Your grandpa sit on here and he worked so hard in a space where it was so hard to even own anything. And he pulled it off and he built this thing for you guys. You guys sell it. And then these folks gonna come in, they're gonna nice it up, they're gonna build something real beautiful, and guess what they're gonna do? Charge us, the locals, to stay there. And then now we complaining that rents are high, this high, everything going up, because who controlling it? We selling the land to these folks so that they could up our rents and do all of this stuff, and then now and just take our money. You know what I mean? So we have to really, really be more cognizant and pay more attention to property, especially property that we have, you know. And then another thing too, the same thing happens in business. Your grandfather owns some business that he been running for years, and then the kids graduate, they go do their own thing or whatever, and then grandpa's sick, and then the house getting sold, and then the business closing down.
Yeah, so this is what I tell my daughters, right? I run a management company called Gangline Management Co. And I manage artists, right? And I know they don't want to manage artists. They probably want to be dentists and pediatricians and, you know, play with dogs and stuff like that. But I tell them this, right? You don't have to do what I do, but you have to have the knowledge of what I'm doing. And when I gone, you need to maintain this. I don't care if you hire somebody to run it, but you have to have 51% ownership in this. You know what I mean? And you have to be knowledgeable. She go be a dentist, but you have to, I built this. Like, I stopped working to come build this.
Exactly.
Right? You need to be able to leverage that for yourself and not give it away. No, if you're able to leverage this and create something greater and this have to like dissolve, I'm cool with that. But something have to replace it. It can't just be like you working for somebody your whole life, right? That's not what we're here for. And there's nothing wrong with working a job. I ain't knocking nobody to work. I had a good job. You know what I mean? But the sense of ownership to me will last upon me when like from father to son. And my mission is I want them to have ownership. You know what I mean? So start the t-shirt brand. I know that's something that they could get into. And we don't pull our kids in from all lead.
That's another thing.
You know what I mean?
We wait till we sick in our bed and they don't become whoever they're going to be in life. But there's a dentist, and here we are trying to tell a dentist, stop worrying about teeth. I'm going to worry about managing these artists and this t-shirt brand. And they were like, this hair working out for me right now. So we have to involve them in the space.
Give them things to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Listen, there's so much. You could assign your kids tasks just for the heck of it, or you could even make them employees in your business.
Yeah, you definitely could make them employees.
You could pay your child up to $13,000 a year, each child.
Right.
Put them on payroll we don't give our kids allowance anyways.
And tax write it off.
And it's tax write off.
Right.
So pretty much what that means is I could pay my child $13,000 and I could write that off as an expense.
Right.
That 13 grand could go into a savings account, whatever it is I want to do, something that's going to grow. So at the point when they're adults, guess what? They have enough money that they could start their own business, add it to the college fund, whatever the case may be. But bottom line is we need to start including our kids in whatever it is we're doing. Why we wait until we are on our deathbed to say, hey, you need to come loan this here now? Like, no, I got so much other things going on. And that adds to the problem of the house getting sold and the business closing.
Right. And that's the point of the podcast, man. And another flip side to the podcast, I mean, we're going to talk about economics and how to deal with money. And like for me personally, I spend a lot of my time selling weed, right? And like the difficulties I face now is weed money were like fast money. You know what I mean? Like it was like, if I lose 10,000 today, I know I could make 10,000 tomorrow. So then when I transition into legal stuff, I still had that like illegal mentality that could make money fast, but
yeah.
it process much slower. So then I'm going to struggle with it, and they're going to be like, man, I going to go back there. What a link is,
Exactly.
man. Like, let me go Cali right now, man.
Exactly.
They get 5 punks for 200. Like, you know what I mean? So the purpose of the podcast is to just have the conversation. But aside from just economic wealth, is relationships, right? There's wealth in relationships, right? And I want people to, for me personally, I want people to understand the value of a relationship, how you leverage a relationship, how you see a relationship, what you get out of a relationship, and not worrying about what a person get out of you. You know what I mean? If you's my friend and you ahead of me, I know I have to manage this relationship in a way where I could get ahead. Not using terms like using people and stuff like that, but
adding value. Add value to that person.
What I could bring to the table to increase my wealth, but also add value to them and what they get going on. So
increase theirs as well. So
increase theirs as well. Right, when they're satisfied.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, but I worrying about what I could get. They have to worry about what they getting out of me. I have to worry about what I could get, but I also want to worry about what I could get is that I putting forth a service that doesn't harm my relationship with that person. Exactly. You know what I mean? And
people, like, Caribbean currency is the name of the podcast, right? And we know currency to mean money.
Right.
But really and truly, currency is money. Currency is relationships. Currency is love. Currency is so much. You find so much different things in the form of a currency.
Right.
So equitable relationships, that's currency.
Right.
And I ain't gonna lie, this man here teach me a lot about leveraging relationships. I was a man like, listen, what you gonna do for me? I could do that on my own.
Right.
Like, what you doing for me right now?
Right.
If it ain't adding up to what it is I want and what it is I know I could do for myself, I good.
Right.
You check? But then sometimes just the strength of a relationship, when you get to the point of you barter a deal now, right? Not even gonna be a deal. I gonna do this for somebody because it's out of the love. That's the strength of the love.
Right.
I mean, looking for nothing in return.
You sowing
2
seeds.
years later,
Right.
2 years later, when I in dire need of something that ain't got nothing to do with this person I did something for 2 years ago, I think about it and a light bulb go off in my head and say, yo, but remember such and such I do. Let me link it. I ain't gonna remember such and such I do something. I remember such and such in charge of what it is I need.
Right.
Let me give him a call.
Right.
And because I sowed that seed blindly way back in the day, he was like, listen, I gonna deal with you.
And that seed don't mean that they're gonna give you money. They might open another door for you to go through to find the money.
That's way more valuable than anything I could have charged that person.
Exactly.
I spent some time overseas working, right? I was in Africa, I went in motherland. And if you haven't been to Africa, guys, I need to make it our business to go over there because over there, man, the air just smell better. Everything over there is just the vibes, man. And I
smell air.
Yes. Go in the bathroom after me and tell me if you smell air.
That ain't the air. I can smell it.
But listen, so I was overseas, right? And I was working with some Kenyans.
Yeah.
These man from Kenya, right? And I had met this one dude years ago when I was working in the Middle East. And I was walking in a whole different, in Africa now. And I see the man and I'm like, I know this dude, you know. So I walk up to him and I'm like, yo, Michael, he name. I said, Mike, what good, man? You remember me? And he watched me like I crazy, like, I don't remember you. Who you is? What you want? Right. And I'm like, yo, you remember me from XYZ? I used to hang with XYZ and da-da-da-da-da. He said, what your name is? And I tell him my name. I said, Kyle. I said, Sexos. Usually once they hear my last name, it'll ring the bell.
Seixas. For Andrew said,
I hate this dude.
His name is Kyle Seixas.
Well, this backstory behind that is my grandmother. She didn't like how vulgar my name had.
I don't like it either.
So she decided that me and my family and everybody else were pronouncing it wrong. So she decided it's not Sexos, it's Seixas because it's French.
Who's that in the car with you, sir? Kyle Seixas.
Anyways,
No. Kyle Seixas.
Shout out my grandmother though.
Shout out Andrew said.
So when I tell him my last name, the man, a light bulb went off and the man like, oh yes, I remember you. How you remember me? And he was so happy that I even remember the man, right? And he said, you know what? You walking up to me and walking past all these people to say hello to me tells me that I was good to you when I met you years ago.
Right.
To the point where you to get up from where you were sitting to walk over here to me and say hello to me. And that made my day. And he tell me this here too. He said there's a saying in Swahili. I probably gonna say it wrong, guys.
Right. You're going to say it wrong.
I probably gonna say it wrong.
Yeah, you spell entrepreneur.
Shut up. It said Tangawena Negasaku.
Wait, what?
Tangawena Negasaku.
That nigga
Google
part
it.
is not how
Google
you say
it.
it for sure.
I guarantee you. Is either that or it close?
I know that.
Shut up, man. I don't say 3 times.
Yeah.
Anyways, So that pretty much what I mean is do good and go. Do good and leave. So pretty much stop worrying about what you're going to get in return for doing good. Just do the fucking good shit and walk the fuck away. And that good going to find you. It going to follow you. It gonna, and to hear these man talking like that in the motherland, and this is, he said, because I was good to you back then, the goodness of you even just coming around to warm my heart by telling me hello, it found me. Check something so simple.
Right. And for me, I kind of live like that because you might give me something, right? And I might not give it back to you, you know, but I give it to that person. You know what I mean? Because I know something was given to me. And when I give it to that person, I'm not really, if I need it back, I'm saying I need it back.
Yeah.
But if I go and do works for you, I just really want you to elevate so you could go do works for other people.
Exactly.
Because I understand that the works that I doing for you is because somebody did for me.
Yeah.
I ain't just magically appear and have the ability to be in your face and give you contacts and connects and guidance and direction if nobody didn't give it to me.
Exactly.
So I giving it to you. I hope that you give it to somebody else. But once I give it to you, I on to my next mission of giving. Because I could only give because I'm constantly receiving.
Exactly.
So I holding on to the stuff that were given to me. I just try and put it back out. That's how I know it been coming.
Exactly.
I've been giving. You know what I mean? So
I was in that situation, right? I big on giving. People believe it. I probably shouldn't even say this guy gonna change, but believe it or not, too much people don't just walk up to me and ask me for money. Right? So when somebody come to me and say, hey man, Kyle, I need such and such, especially if it's somebody that could ask me, because some people could ask you for money and some people shouldn't be asking you for money. Like what I mean is if I don't have an equitable relationship with you, I don't know you from Adam, we don't have any type of vibes, any type of connections, don't just wake up and just decide, I think he has money and I need some, let me go ask that person for money. It don't work that way. So whenever people I have equitable relationships reach out to me, if I'm in a space where I could help them, I'm going to help them, right? So I went in a space where I went to Walmart the other day, right? And I walking in to pick up whatever it is I'm picking up. And this girl walk up to me and she had a shopping cart full of stuff and a baby in a shopping cart, right? And
it wasn't yours.
No, fuck
just making sure. I mean, that's a good incentive to give.
It was not mine.
That's why.
Jesus Christ, man. Anyways,
I wouldn't even mention the baby.
Only you would fucking go there, you know.
I just saying.
Like, anyways, I don't know the girl from no place. I had no kind of encounters with her.
Okay.
She don't know me.
Okay.
And disclaimer, she don't know me. I don't know this girl. I'm not that baby's daddy.
I believe the story.
So, she see me and like, for some reason, she lock eyes on me, right? And I like, I ain't paying no mind. So when I pass and she walk up to me, she said, listen, sir, my name is whatever my name is. And I in a space where my ex-boyfriend, we broke up, but he still had access to my Bank of America account. And he just swiped all the money out my account. And she's showing me, right? She's showing me her account where I take out like $400. And she's like, listen, I just moved here.
Savage.
I get my son and I need all of this stuff and da-da-da-da-da, right? So no, my first instinct is like, oh, of course I'm going to help. But some say, look around. So I look around, right? And everybody in the store watching me like, you would be a scunt to fall for that. You would be a papa to fall for that, right?
He is Scammer Central.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel so good.
Exactly. So I am so torn because I was like,
the
listen.
baby had you.
Yeah, the baby had, and his clothes were dirty. And I think she could have like rumpled him up in dirt before she bring him in the store, you know.
Nah, she went too far if she do that to the baby.
I don't know, bro. But I was like, man, I torn because like I really second guessing myself. And I like, if I don't give this girl whatever it is she asked me, if I don't pay for her food or whatever the case may be, right? And I go home, it gonna haunt me all night that, no, if she wasn't scamming, that I sent a hungry kid and a hungry family home and I could have helped them, right? And then the next part of me is like, my son, don't be a scum, don't lead these people, you know what I mean? So I like, listen, that's when I came to the conclusion, like, I gonna buy your food. I gonna buy it. But if you out here, if this is what you don't do, just drive around to different Walmarts and look for a skunt like me to friggin' buy your stuff, then I am still going to get blessed for giving you what I give you, you know. What you do with what I give you, do not block my blessing. Right. If you tell me you hungry and you need food and I give you food and you take that money and go buy a bag, that's on you. Right. You blocking your blessing, not mine. I am still going to get blessed for blessing somebody that I thought was in need and having a genuine heart. So I say that to say, sometimes you might see somebody in need and you might be like, that person say they need such and such, but me think they need such and such. We don't do that to make ourselves feel better about not giving. Right? But if you're in a space where deep down inside, you know that person probably need what they're asking for. And key word, you are in a place that you could give it. This is a person you have an equitable relationship with. I'm going to preference my comments by saying that. Tom, Dick, and Harry that you don't know from no place shouldn't be walking up to you and asking for anything. And that's the value of equitable relationships, because when you have an equitable relationship, you could go to that person and ask them for certain things. You know what I mean?
Sonny, you could tell us what equitable mean, because I know what I mean.
So you trying to? What were you
No.
Oh,
This is for me.
Challenge me to see if
I know how to use it in the right way, but to ask me exactly what I mean, I don't mean. But you know, here what to this, right? Everything you just described really describe our grandparents, especially when we were growing up.
True.
We come home and they have a bum at the table eating.
Somebody we don't know.
I'm
like, this man is stinking up the house.
You know what I mean? But that's how they was. So giving were almost like second nature to us. Not judging were almost like second nature to us, because that's the kind of, and they didn't, trust me, our grandparents ain't had shit.
They ain't had it.
Bro, my grandma have 10 daughters. It's a 3-bedroom house. With 2 first grandchildren, and then our cousins coming over, like the house. All our grandparents' house were like in the projects were always packed with children and people. Yeah. How they do it, we don't know. No, right now, if I were them, I was selling ass. Serious, I don't even have no idea. They ain't got no government assistance. You know what I mean?
Equitable. Yes, so
you have been one ugly hole.
But I want to touch on first, because Kyle, what you mentioned, helping the lady in Walmart get groceries. What I find is that we don't find when it's appropriate to do that with each other.
Yes.
Right? To help our own brother, our own sister. Like we turn our own people away when we need help the most, instead of, trying to lift each other up in situations like that. Like taking advantage of those most equitable relationships, which are considered like comfortable relationships, relationships that you could benefit from. Like, and you explained it to yourself earlier, but those relationships that you could benefit from, right? When you think about equity, and also where you could help someone, benefit as well. So you have your blessing, don't block your blessing. I gonna give you this blessing, take this blessing.
Right. And we would be scared to do it, because in your inner sanctum, you really want to like project stability. So you're scared to go ask Kyle, or you're scared to go ask Sony, like, yo, things bleak right now. I need this. You're afraid to be judged. But with a stranger, they don't know you, you don't know them, so it's easy to ask. You know what I mean? And like to Sony point, like we have to kind of like be more comfortable within our inner sanctum, saying, I need help.
And
I need this.
Another thing, not to cut you off, right? Sometimes we would have a situation where you would know somebody you have an equitable relationship with is in need, right? And before they ask, you would offer, you would say, you know what? Let me pay this bill for you.
Right.
I know you ain't got to, let me pay this bill. And that person, because of the prayer, would say, no, you ain't got to do that. I good. I've had situations like that, and I like, listen, you ain't blocking my blessing by not taking what it is the Most High, the universe, God, whoever, tell me to give you. Like, I was moved to bless you with this. So you not accepting it is gain in the way of my blessing. For blessing you. So we have to be way more receptive towards accepting the help, accepting the blessings, because we don't let our pride gain away. And then because now our pride is in the way, and we're still in a place where we're not benefiting.
Well, we just subscribe to a dangerous word called independence. That's our number one thing. Like, we want to be independent. We want to go get our own thing, and that's cool. But we wasn't raised like that. We were raised in a village of people. You know what I mean? So don't like just, who you try and prove it to?
Exactly.
Who you try and prove that you could do this on your own?
Exactly.
I mean, you wasn't born on your own. You wasn't raised on your own. You really ain't doing nothing on your own, All the stuff that you're acquiring is with people that you don't know. The job that you don't know these people. The person you about to buy the house from. This person is a mortgage lender. You know this person, but I ain't going to this person because I don't want this person to know my finances. I'm going to go to this stranger over here and do my mortgage business with, because we want to prove that we could do this on our own, and we don't want nobody to say that they helped me. I want somebody to see my success and say, I helped him. Because you did.
Exactly.
You did help me.
Exactly.
And I need that to be told that you helped me. I don't want you to feel like you can't tell nobody that you helped me become this.
Exactly.
I didn't get where I is in no way, shape, or form. Yo, I used to live with my aunt. I used to live with my father. I used to live with my mother. I used to live with my grandmother. Like the village actually raised me, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I live with my brother. You know what I mean? So it's like, why gotta be ashamed of saying like I get help? I mean, we have all these people in our family. How much great grandchildren and grandchildren grandma have?
We have a ton, maybe over 40.
Maybe over 40 grandchildren. So I by myself?
Exactly.
I ain't by myself.
What we struggling for?
I struggling for?
Struggling for? We have access to all this help.
No. So we got this. So it's just Caribbean Currency Podcast. It's just for us to have these conversations, for you guys to see it. And hopefully when we discuss it here and you listen to us, you in the home discussing it with your spouse, your children, your friends, your family, your girlfriend circles, go on girl trip. Like, don't be afraid to have them conversations, because not having them conversations leads to a lack of knowledge. A lack of knowledge leads to making bad financial decisions. And then you really need help. No, you need extra help. You know what I mean? So we here to encourage people to, like, you know, just talk about it. And we're going to have guests and different people on and different walks of life who do different things and went about it a different way.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
And we creating a conversation. We starting a conversation. We getting it going.
Right.
So pretty much we adding to what we talking about already. We ain't telling a lot of people that be like, instead of focusing on this, you need to focus on that. Focus on what you're focusing on.
Right.
But make space.
Right.
For some generational wealth, for some financial literacy. Make space for that.
Right.
I guarantee you wouldn't regret doing that.
Right.
Make space for that and include that in your everyday life.
Right.
There's this thing called a poverty mindset. And we need to break the poverty mindset. Because we in a space where we ain't come from nothing. And we know that we ain't come from nothing. So we live our life in a way that is really, really minimal. And we don't project greatness. We keep it right here, minimal, right? But we want more.
Right.
We ain't gonna sit on here and say we don't want more.
Right.
But if we don't start to think different, we would never get more.
Right.
So I was reading this book one time, and the guy said,
What a book name? Who's the author? I don't know, because when you read this book, I need a.
I don't remember the name of the fuck. I'm sorry. You see, this man will make me cuss. You see how you don't give me out that character? I don't remember the name.
I think the people them want to know the name of the book.
And the name and the author of the book ain't endorsed this show, so I'm glad I remember the fucking name of the book.
But it was a good book, though.
It was a good book.
I could tell because you've grown.
Okay. But if you write a book and you want me to reference your book in the podcast, shoot me a DM and we go talk. But I'm going to cast you. Look at this man giving away spots on me.
Man.
Anyways,
I might want to read.
I read a book
Uh-huh.
that I don't know who the author was and what he looked like. And he said you need to operate from both sides of the spectrum. You need to experience both sides of the spectrum. If you really, really poor, get up one day and go to an open house for a house that you know you can't afford.
Right.
Just put on some nice clothes and just show up and be like, I'm interested in buying this house. Right? And just mingle. You ain't gotta have no heap of conversation. Just walk around and feel and see the other people that's there, that's operating every day in this space, which is, this is their life. This is how they live.
Right.
A life of abundance. Right? And once you do that now, when you go back to the hood, you go back to wherever it is you is, that gonna be on your mind like, listen, I want that.
Right.
I need to do something different so I could have that. And then on the other side of the spectrum now, if you is a multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever the case may be, right? You are already making all this money, you good in life. But you need to experience what it's like for somebody that's poor. Right. Somebody that don't have it the way you have it. You need to be able to experience their struggles. So that's going to teach that person humanity. And in teaching them humanity, is going to help them with retention. Right. Where you don't treat your employees like shit. Right. Just because you making money and you could talk to them however you want to talk to them. They're going to show you, like, listen, you need to have some compassion. Because guess what happened? They'll build up these CEOs, they'll pay them all this money, and then guess what? That CEO, because you treat them like shit, gonna leave and go to your competition and make them billions of dollars, and your company gonna suffer. So you get this retarded smoke on your face like you want to say something dumb.
No, I don't. I'm really listening to you. I didn't read a book, but I read a quote. And I think it's by Aristotle. Aristotle.
Spell Aristotle.
I can't spell Aristotle. Aristotle, you need to make sure your peoples get with me. This shameless plug is for you. Okay, but this quote is the quote of my business. We are what we repeatedly do. Right. Excellence then become a habit. So it's just the same thing what you saying, right?
Yeah.
Putting yourself in certain spaces to repeatedly do something over and over and having a mindset, and that's going to determine the type of person you're going to be, the mentality you're going to have. But Aristotle, it might have been Socrates, I don't know.
Stop
I have
saying
to go
his
look.
name because he ain't pay us to say his name.
And
Right.
Kyle, to piggyback on what you say, right? This is so true. Last night, like me and my husband just had this conversation.
Yeah.
My daughter took months to save up $200 to buy her some Jordans. She don't know which Jordan she want, but she just on the sneakers app constantly like, ooh, I could buy these, right?
Yeah.
So we telling her, like, listen, like, if you could take the $200 because this is your hard-earned money, and you could buy these Jordans that you want. But then when you spend the $200 on one pair of shoes, you ain't gonna have no money left. So what is it going to be like, right? So from his perspective, he was saying, listen, well, maybe that's what she need to do to understand what it's like not to have money.
Exactly.
And then, that'll be a lesson learned for her.
Exactly.
And then me as the mom, I'm like, well, maybe let's teach her how to invest the money, right? And she started her own little business to, earn her money to do her little thing. But it's crazy because one thing that stood out in the conversation, he said to me, there's a difference between rich people and poor people, right? Rich people take their money and invest to make more money, while poor people take their money to find stuff to buy to look like what rich people is trying to do. And that like blew my mind. Like, oh my gosh, like you just hit the nail, on the head, like for real.
And we don't want to be rich, we want to appear
right.
rich.
Look,
we
the
want
funny
to look
thing,
rich.
The funny thing is when the rich people let them get rich, they don't really buy the
buy
stuff
that
them
shit.
that you take. I sit next to a millionaire, he got Skechers, I got Jordans. He get way more money than
Exactly.
me. You know what I mean? He don't even look what we think rich look like. You know what I mean? Jay-Z don't wear jewelry no more. You know what I mean? He might wear nice, affordable clothing that he like, that's top of the line gear. But when you see him, he really look like a bum. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because their parents don't mean nothing. But he already fed into that culture when we were young. He get a gold chain. That he broke out of that. But you don't have to get rich like Jay-Z to break out of that. And I ain't saying don't buy your Gucci bag. I just saying be smart about when you decide to buy this piece of trinket for yourself.
So,
why learn about a lot of people is they don't know how to stay down.
Yes.
Right? They really want to get their money back. They really want to get their money up, but they got to take these trips. They got to go to these fetes. They have to party. They got to be outside.
Yeah.
So I ask myself, like, how bad you really want it that you have to be everywhere?
Everywhere.
I ain't going no place that ain't benefiting.
What we celebrating?
Yo, if you see me out to the club, it's because it's benefiting what I do. Other than that, I'm going to be wolfed out. I'm going to be home. I'm going to be in the studio. Like, I ain't doing none of that stuff.
Again,
I can't.
right? We're not criticizing people for
Who
going
do.
to the club
Right.
and doing all of that. If you go doing that and living your life that way and you happy and this brings you joy,
Right.
live your life.
Right.
But for those of you that want more, for those of you that want abundance, for those of you that want something different, you can't be doing the same thing you're doing and expecting a different result.
Right.
That's the definition of insanity.
Right.
So you have to change something. So if you have $1,000 every month, and that's what it is you have, and after you pay all your bills, you get $200 left over. You take that $200 and blow it on boat rides and jams and whatever the case may be, and then turn around and say, man, I want to save. How? Miss a jam, miss a boat ride, miss a party. I went home, right? And I see how expensive home is,
Wow.
Ain't cheap. So you paying $40 to get into a jam, and then you're buying a big cup of rum for $15.
But how much you spend on the clothes to go look good? But that's personal development, right?
That's personal
Bro,
development.
that's a lot of unpacking you have to do first, right? And to get somebody to like unpack all the way back to zero to then move forward, man, it's such a tough conversation to get people to stop doing certain things.
And the thing is, we have to really, like, for instance, right? I've had clients that will come to me and say, Kyle, I have a tough time paying on these credit cards. Is there anything we could do? I'm like, well, until your utilization is at 100%, we can't get no new loan to pay these credit cards down. So we need more income. Well, me ain't got no time for no other job. How many jobs you have now? One. From what time? 9 to 5. So what are you doing in your 6 to 10?
Watching me on the Facebook.
Watching this dude screaming at camera on Facebook.
Thank you.
Scrolling.
Love y'all.
Watching all these different reality shows and whatever else. And I'm not knocking scrolling. I ain't knocking reality shows. I'm just telling you, you have the time. You have the time. I told her, I said, you have the time. What you to do? You to braid your daughter them hair every day. to go school. Braid some other children. Again, mothers out here that don't want to deal with braiding their hair, and they would pay.
Why are you braiding her hair every day?
And come on, man.
You know, it's a different conversation.
It's a different conversation.
Right.
I don't know what kind of hair she
Put
get.
locks in her head, man.
But you know which way, right? Maybe she braid one child's hair today and braid another one hair tomorrow.
Okay.
Whatever the case would be. Or maybe in every day.
Put that
And
shit
then
in a
it's
puff.
But nonetheless, right? You have the time. We just have to stay down for a little while. So you know what? I can't go to that jam this week and I can't scroll and lay and watch on Netflix and chill like I used to because I have to go take this job. But the only job that I have is Kmart and such. Me want to work there. Why not? What they gonna think about me when I work in Kmart? You want your bills paid, or you want to appease these people that ain't helping you pay your bills? Like, we gotta stay down and we have to be in a space where we ain't worried about what people say.
Right.
Because once we get to that space where we so concerned what people saying about us, we ain't living our life for us and our children. We living our life for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. So personal development is definitely one of the things that we're gonna be touching on. There's so much other stuff, you know what I mean? Conflict resolution. Everything that leads to a place where you can make money, not make money, stop you from making money is just what the podcast is about, man. And there's so many stories to be told from ourselves, from guests, situations in the world. We just, like, you know, Kyle say at the very beginning, man, we just really want to have the conversation. We just really want to be able to, and it's something that me and him been talking about for a long time, about using who we are and our platform to give back and give our knowledge and give our perspective and cause when we first started jumping on Facebook, we were just really talking shit. You know what I mean? And we built up our platform talking shit. So
we were doing the same thing that we were telling them, man.
You know what I mean?
Spelling all 6 to 10 on Facebook,
right,
scrolling, talking.
Right, doing the same thing we telling them man to do. And we just decided that, look, man, we could still talk shit because we do. Right? We have fun all the time. But at the same time, we need to interject information into the people.
Definitely.
So they could be better. Because we really care about where we're from.
Definitely.
We really care about our people. We really want to see them win. We really want to see them be owners.
And we losing. Like, if we being real, we losing our island, you know.
Right.
Because our island becoming too expensive for us to afford to live there.
Right.
So everything going up except your salary.
Right.
Everything is going up except your salary. When is the last time you got a raise? But I could tell you how much time gas went up since you got a raise.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens is, what we do? We can't afford to live there no more, so we move Atlanta, we move Miami, we move wherever. And then guess what happens?
It's the same thing here.
It going up here, but it ain't as bad as what it is
bad,
down there.
of course. That's paradise.
So what happened is, people are up here. Whenever, I'm sure you experience this. Where you from, man? I'm from the Virgin Islands. Why'd you leave?
Why you leave?
What you doing here?
Right.
Well, I couldn't afford to stay.
I know.
But these man in their head, people that's affluent up here, all the locals leaving.
Right.
Okay, well, we gonna move in. And we're going to buy up the property.
Right.
And then we're going to buy these houses and rent it to them and jack up the rent so they can't afford it. And then we could rent it to our own people.
Right.
And that's how we lose our islands. Gentrification 101.
Right. What episode this is? 00? 00, man.
What's the difference between 00 and 01? Or 01?
I don't know.
01 is 11. No.
I have no.
I feel matter a lot.
You know what I mean? Right. I don't know what number is that. That's 25 or that's 7. That's so backwards. You were supposed to do it a different way. Yeah, so 00. Yeah, I don't know. What's this?
So that's 7, man.
That's 7?
She just tell us we get 10 minutes left, right? She come and hold up 5 fingers and 2 fingers on the other hand. This podcast is 25.
You were asking for the mic when the mic was right in front of you. Whatever. 00 episode of Caribbean Currency Podcast. Right, this is our first one, and we hope to have millions more, and we hope that you guys join us and have the conversation and post your comments and feedback and email and even information that we might miss that we don't know. We just want to create this community, having easy conversations around money and relationships and wealth and equitable things.
And again, we ain't knocking nobody. We ain't here to judge anybody. We just saying, like, listen. This is what happening. We losing our heritage. We losing our island. We losing everything because we're not generating enough income to be able to afford it. So we need to add money into the conversation. We need to show our kids, like, yo, what you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to be a singer. I want to be an athlete. I want to be a rapper. Good for you. Really good for you, But guess what? Let's do something else too. Just in case that rap career don't take off. Just in case that basketball career, you broke your ankle and you can't play ball no more, you have something else to fall back on, where you're not in a space where you're 28 years old and you're starting all over from nothing because you didn't do anything else besides play ball.
A lot of these athletes as well too, though, you just don't see it, right? The rapper them own buildings on the block. You know what I mean? They have their money they're just showing you that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you could be a basketball player. You could pursue that dream. But we have to understand that we could do things simultaneously.
Yeah.
We don't have to be like one track minded and this is the only part and
Exactly.
this is all I know how to do is play basketball. No, because even when you know how to play basketball and even when you make it to the NBA, LeBron is a great example. You are a business at that point.
Exactly.
People are coming to you to make money with you. So basketball is that's not. So you have to learn these things too. So when you get to the league or not to the league, or you're going to build relationships playing basketball as well. You're going to go to school, play on a scholarship, but you in school, in class with people who are affluent. You need to manage those relationships. You might break your ankle next week, but you have to have friends. You have to have people that you could
reach out to.
with.
So you might make it to the league because you're really good, but your teammate in college didn't make it to the league, but he was studying journalism and he's the best talk show talking about sports on TV, and then here you are, you broke your ankle and you need another gig. But now if you didn't connect with your partner and I didn't have that equitable relationship, you can't reach out to him and be like, yo bro, this is what's going on with me. My son come, I got space for you right here and make sure you good. And that carries back to the importance of equitable relationships. You know what I mean? But like I say, man, this is the first episode, whether it's 00 or 01, whatever you want to call it, that's still to be determined. And
look, he said it was 00.
Who said it?
Eldridge.
Okay.
Shout out Eldridge and the whole team, but that's what he said. Okay. So not 01. The next one is 01.
I didn't hear that. But
you know 0 is a number, right?
Okay.
All right. Just making sure.
When people drop out of school, right? They don't want to try so hard to show people that they're smart, that they don't have these kind of conversations.
I just
know 0 is a number, right? zero comes before 1, you know. I got you. But nonetheless, man, we're going to have these conversations. We're going to rock out. We're going to talk shit. We're going to laugh. You might cry. He might cry. He contacts my father. Look at him. He realized. But guess what? We're going to deliver the message, man. And that's what we're here to do. I wouldn't do this podcast with nobody else. This is my cousin. I don't know if I catch on.
Right.
This is my cousin. We vastly different, but our goals always align. We want the same thing when it comes to life. We gonna go different routes, right? Legally, but we gonna go different routes, but we gonna always meet here in the middle. And that's why I wouldn't do this podcast with nobody else, because I know we could have a big falling out today and I could tell you so much thing about himself, and then tomorrow, hey, what we doing for the next episode, man, is our love.
You didn't think I had a choice, really. All morals were best friends and cousins. So, you know, I had to, wherever they went, we were together all the time. You know what I mean? Up until he didn't eat, now he got headache, now we got to stay home
and
so he can
sleep.
sleep.
Now, so I get a headache.
Yeah, exactly. So let's land the plane.
But I feel like this was a good episode, man.
It was a great episode, man. It was nice talking to you. I didn't even know I could have talked to you that long, you know. Read out through the car for 5 minutes. I'm tired of Kyle already. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, so stay tuned for the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed what we putting on the table and become fans. Subscribe, follow, comment, Caribbean Currency. You know what I mean?
Link in the comments, link in the bio, link in the caption. Check us out. We here.
Don't forget to tell me how good my edges look too. I just want to make sure y'all know this is real stuff right here. It ain't even get no like gel on it. You know what I mean? Like for real. Shut up, my hairdresser, man. Hair magician. Okay.
Hair magician, lad up yourself.
Facts.
But I think that's it. I think we about to wrap. First episode was a success.
And cut.
And cut, like you said.
Right.